Hello, welcome back to All For United WFC. There's so many of you waiting. I've never seen that many people waiting for us to go live for that. That is crazy. Anyway, welcome back to the channel. We've got some goals to talk about this week. I know we had a couple of goals last week. We spoke about the Brighton draw. Since then, obviously, 7 against Everton. We're going to start with that very briefly. We are going to cover Everton, just if anyone can remember that. Obviously, last Thursday. So we're going to cover that briefly. There's going to be a player of the match poll for Everton in the chat. I'm literally going to put in. It's going to be in there for like 5-10 minutes at the most, and then we're going to move on to West Ham because we need to get that player of the match poll in there. So not going to waste any more time because we've got so many goals to talk about. To start with, though, Jake is right. Charlie has returned. We've managed to get the contract signed for another year, and she's returned for this one. I can't remember the last time you were on, Charlie. It's got to have been a few weeks. It's been a while. It probably feels longer than it actually is, but whenever you're not on a Monday, it's like a big shock.
Oh, okay. I apologise, everyone. Apologies from me.
I'm trying to think when it was now.
Was
I reckon it was Leicester. Oh, no, you were on Everton. It was Everton. Then we had the international break, didn't we? And then obviously Brighton and everything else. So, yes, Charlie is back, which is great to see. So, I may as well just come straight to you first. And obviously, we'll start with Everton just very briefly. Last Thursday, in the pouring down rain, our first Conti Cup game, there was points during that game. I thought, yeah, it's a good job that this LSV pitch is a good one because anywhere else this might be getting called off with the amount of rain we had during that game. But yeah, just your kind of last word on that one. And obviously, Jayce got a first goal, a Parris hat trick. Williams scored. Williams clattered into a player as well, which is brilliant. Just your thoughts on that one.
It was a bit deflating after the away game against Brighton, I think. So needed a bit of a performance from them. And it was nice to see lots of who you might now class as the second string 11 at a push, particularly the ones beyond the defensive line, come in and put on a really good performance. But yeah, it was needed. Brighton away was tough. It was tough to take that one. So yeah, a much needed result. And I would love to play Everton every week because they've been dreadful twice. We've also played well, but they've been dreadful.
Going to say there certainly were. And Andrew, for yourself, what do you make on that one? I said kicking off the cons. It's not really a competition we want to be in, but yeah, as we said there, 7 goals, clean sheet again. Fallon obviously with a competitive debut as well. Rabjon as well came on for hers as well. And you were on that show actually. The one of the 4 of us that was on that show when me and Barry were having that debate: should we rotate? Should we not? Barry was heavily against rotating, and we did. And we saw the outcome on that one.
Yeah. I was going to say Mark Skinner did promise some rotation in that game, and it was 7 changes from the team that drew against Brighton. So, hey, it works. Pretty much pressing from the front as we pushed Everton way back, and so just as soon as we got the first, it was just like we were just rampant in our attack as well. And so the highlight in the game was Rachel Williams just clattering into the Everton player. I was like, thought, oh, that's going to be a foul and booking. No, okay, just Rachel Williams just carried on, so did the rest of the team. But yeah, it was not a fan of the Conti Cup or the structure of the Conti Cup, but it's good to get the opening win. So yeah, good win. So just headed into Sunday with yesterday with so much confidence too.
Certainly, we're going to get on to that. So when we talk about Jayce as well, because she got her goal against Everton, that was obviously cheered very loud. That was probably the most cheered goal throughout the 7 against Everton, because I think we were all just willing her to score. She had a chance just before that she just didn't decide to shoot, and we've seen that a couple of times. But Vic, for yourself, thanks for coming back on. It's been a while since we've seen you as well. I can't remember the last time we had. I think it was actually pre-season the last time you came on. We were having that debate, talking about what our best lineup is and all that kind of thing. Obviously, you were at Everton as well. What do you make of that one from a 7-0 on that game?
Well, it was all right. I mean, we'll take it, but it's obviously, like I said, it's not the competition we want to be in, really. But it annoys me more that we've beat Everton 5-0 and 7-0, but last year we drew, and that's why we ended up second in the league. Still comes back to me now, and still annoys me to the day, but I'm glad we've made our mark. We've got some goals back, because before that, our last pass in the final third has just been horrendous. So I'm glad we've got some confidence back, and hopefully that's set out to the girls now that, we can do it. We've proved it, and we've had lots of different goal scorers as well, coming from the back as well. So they've got the confidence, they can do it, and hopefully they bring that confidence to Old Trafford at the weekend.
definitely think confidence is going to play a part. So when we talk about Jason just a second, when we talk obviously about West Ham, because she did get the first goal in that game, but I think that Everton game was probably about the right time for us to get some goals in, get obviously a win, as Charlie said. That Brighton game was really hard to take last week as well, to get that confidence flowing and so on. Obviously, a lot of chat about Parris. We're going to get to her in a second. Just to round off the Everton thing, because as I said, I literally wanted to spend 5-10 minutes on this before we get obviously onto West Ham. The player of the match poll that I literally said was going to be in the chat for 5 minutes, it has been, and there is a very clear winner, as I thought it would be. But is there any disagreements that Parris was player of the match in that Everton game? She's on 71%, current 72% now. So I think, that was pretty unanimous. So I'm going to quickly end that poll because, as I said, I only wanted to get quick. She's gone up to 73%. That's going to keep going up, I think, as that one's in the chat. But good to kick off the Conti Cup with a win. As I said, we kind of need a few wins under our badge to get that momentum going. We saw how that affected us last season in a positive way. Right, we'll move on to West Ham then, because 5 more goals to talk about on this one. And Charlie, I thought it was over to yourself. We just mentioned her. Geyse obviously got a goal against Everton. Much needed in that one. And to be honest, she looks like a different player now to me. Obviously, there's still a little bit, to me, where a decision making could sharpen up a little bit in the final third. But straight away, West Ham, a few minutes in, gets a goal. And what have you made of her again in the Everton game, obviously getting a goal, and obviously in this one as well, in West Ham getting a goal early on, and just her overall play in that one?
I felt like she was. I think you're right. Getting the goal against Everton was important. I think she's clearly an incredibly talented footballer, but I think you could see from her body language a little bit in the last couple of games before that goal. She was looking irritated and a bit annoyed, perhaps with herself, that she wasn't sort of making the impact she wanted. I thought she was a completely different player against West Ham. I thought she led from the front. I thought she pressed incredibly well. I'd be interested to see how many times she sort of turned the ball over and won the ball back from a starting striker position. Just worked incredibly hard. My favourite thing about her is how she receives the ball with her back to goal. Defenders marking her very, very close, which I think is a mistake, because her ability to turn a player and get past them when they're in close proximity, I think I've never seen anyone live in the women's game as good as she is. She's really, really good. I think you're right. I think there are still times when you just sort of think, I wish she'd passed it there. Like, it's really impressive, but sometimes I just wish she'd lay it off quicker. And I think Mallard does do that. And you saw that little bit difference when Mallard came on. So she could do that. And I think that's what's affecting her end product. She's perhaps wanting to score all the time. And sometimes there is a better option that you just need to lay the ball off. But yeah, much improved from her, and appears like a bit of a weight has been lifted, and could have had 2 or 3 really against West Ham. But it can only be a good thing for us that she's kicking on now, just as we're about to obviously play City in front of a record crowd for us at Old Trafford. But yeah, really pleased for her. I think it was inevitable. She's really talented, and it's annoyed a lot of opposition fans and Barcelona fans that she scored a couple of goals. Apparently anyone could score those. She's dreadful. But yeah, really pleased. It could only be a good thing for her.
No, for sure. I agree with you as well. Her overall play, I don't think I said this. If she can continue scoring, to me, she could be one of United's best ever players. Because on the ball, when you watch it, she just glides past players. She's not ridiculously quick, but that, as you said, that kind of on the ball, being able to turn very quick and get past a player. We've not got that many players in our squad that can do that. And it just helps drive the team forward. And in games like when we play Chelsea, and obviously you mentioned City, we're going to need that. We're going to need somebody to drop a little bit and push the team forward like that. So, yeah, I'm glad. Obviously, as Kevin said, they obviously got 2 goals now. Hopefully, can go on a bit of a run and get some more in the future as well. Andrew, for yourself, what do you make of Geyse's goal? Somebody obviously just mentioned in the chat there as well. A bit of a poacher's goal, obviously deflected. Mia Zara assist. I don't know whether it's gone down as a Mia Zara assist or not. I think the deflection might have taken that assist off her, or has it gone down as hers? I don't know whether it has or not. I think she might have been taken away on that one.
Technically, did deflect off the West Ham player, but definitely a bit of a poacher's goal, yes. But it was United started, wasted no time in getting on the front foot, and it's like a bit of a nice change of pace after some of the slow starts we've had to matches in the season. But Geyse is just continuing a good form. I think getting that first goal against Everton was just like, as Charlie said, the weight's lifted off her, and I just think yesterday she sort of had a spring in her step. She's like, more confident. I'm just like, ability on the ball is second to none. Even when she's like running with the balls, like the opposition defence are like, well, do we hold our position? Do we go left, right? We can't work out which way you're going to go. So it's causing the opposition many problems. But say it's good to get ahead so early as well. And say Geyse is just, a completely different player. And just thinking now, I think we said in the last show, if she scores one, then she'll just be starting to fire. So I'm just hoping now it's coming up on Sunday, she'll score even more against City, which would be even better. So, yeah, much happy for Geyse as well. So, yeah, can't wait to see more things from her as well.
I was going to say, and as Alan saying that, the only player that moved, it's that's what you want your forward to be doing. And I disagree with Karen. Jade definitely wasn't playing on the wing versus Brighton, because that was the one big criticism we had, that she wasn't playing on the wing, and we wanted Mallard down the middle.
She mentioned earlier saying she glides on the ball, and I was thinking, the only other player reminds me of that United player, well, that's from the men's side, was Dimitar Berbatov. He sort of glided on the ball, not necessarily the most quickest, but just keep that ball quite near him, and so just glides through the opposition.
Just a quick as well, I like a goal like that from a centre forward, because it shows a little bit of bravery, because Mackenzie Arnold was coming out for that as well, and Mallard did the same against Everton. You want that. You want them to get stuck in, not pull out of things, and that was brave. I think that was brave for her to do. So I think that's a good sign as well.
No, it certainly was, and obviously there's a couple of people. I've just brought this comment up as well. I was talking about Toone and Geyse's partnership in particular. I won't say who the conversation was with, but I remember speaking to somebody after Villa away, and they were saying that the lack of training sessions United actually had as a full group leading up to the start of the season, it was a handful at most. So it's not a surprise that it's taken a few games to get the partnerships working. And don't forget, we've had a rotated side a little bit as well, chopping and changing the midfield. We've had various different options there. George was in, then she was out. The PSG game, we had Riviere, right? There has been so many different changes to the side. So it's going to have took that a little bit longer to develop those partnerships. Vic, for yourself, obviously, what do you make of the goal and Geyse's overall performance in the last couple of games?
I think she's definitely developed since she's been at United. It's been a bit like, I think you'll all agree that she does all the work and then just loses it at the end, just doesn't get the final pass. But I do agree that the final pass still needs work. And there's a few times yesterday I thought, just pass, like people are open. Even if it's going back to then for somebody to just, take a shot. Like, I think Zell did take one after she did pass back once, and, it weren't far off. Like, that one time out of 10, it might get in. So just go for it. But it's just the final pass, the decision making isn't good with her. But I just don't think, I think she still just needs to mature, and she needs to know where everyone else is. There is as well, like, a language barrier. So, you've got to feel for her that, she doesn't speak great English. I've heard she does not speak great English. Same with Hinny and Melvin. Their English isn't great. So it has got to be hard that you've got to feel for them, like they don't know. So, but yeah, I do think she is. I know someone just said she is gliding with the ball, and her turns are just unreal. And I still think I'll still say that we've got a better 23 now. So she's coming into her own, and she's just going to get better. And I'm excited. And she's an exciting player to watch. She's really exciting to watch. Really exciting. Can't wait to see how far she gets.
Exciting is definitely the word. I think every time she picks up the ball, I like that unpredictability sometimes. Obviously, in tighter games, and obviously that composure is needed at times. But I like the fact that you're like, there was a point, I think it was in the second half, and she was doing keep-ups on the edge of the box. Like, what are you doing? But that's just her, isn't it? And we want that bit of flair and things like that. And obviously, within reason, if we're 2-0 down and you start trying a little bit of that on the edge of the box, I think the crowd are going to get on your back a little bit. But at the point, obviously 3-0 and so on, I think, yeah, it's exciting. I, as I said at the start, I don't think I've seen a player like her. Lauren James, obviously, potentially, when obviously she was at United, now obviously what we're seeing with her with Chelsea. But other than that, there's not many players like that can drive with the ball like she does. So the goals are here now, which is good, which is the one criticism, obviously, we had. Obviously, that final touch a little bit can let her down, but hopefully now she's got the goal, as we said. there was a comment just a second ago. Gabriella said, "Now, obviously, my only concern with Geyse, if something doesn't go right, her head drops a bit." Obviously, you guys are all there. Do you see that a little bit with her? The fact that if maybe things aren't going, I saw that a little bit against Everton. I'm not going to lie. When certain things, she just wasn't, I guess, chased after the ball as much. When the pass wasn't to her and these kind of things. Is that something that's maybe a little bit of a worry, or is that something we've just got to, I guess, accept with a player like that?
If she produces and she scores regularly, a bit like some of the best players we've ever seen, not all of them, but some of them are a bit like that, I think we'll accept it. I think it's not a problem. The other bit there that Gabriella's put about, I think I said it at the game, I turned to Shane and I said it was about a third or fourth challenge in. I just said they're not protecting her. They're not protecting her as a player. She's just being kicked and pushed. Luckily, she's got something about her and she can take it. But that bit worries me more, that she's not being protected. I think we used to see, and we still do see similar sometimes with Lauren James, someone who's really good with the ball at their feet, and the defenders only really get to the point where they have an option where they can just hack them down. And we just need to make sure that players like that, and her in particular, because she's United, are being protected. But yeah, the thing about her head going down, yes, she gets annoyed. I think she gets cross. You can see it. But as long as that fires her up, I don't think it's a problem. And if she keeps producing, she can be as mardy as she wants when she misses, for me.
I don't think I've noticed that much yesterday, her head going down. See the points. It's probably when she's not done something right, she's like annoyed with herself, but that's like she knows she can do better at a certain time. So, but yeah, don't see her head there going down much yesterday. But yeah, say it right on your point about opposition defenders are trying to get closer and just like, well, we're not going to let you get past us. We're just going to take you down instead. I'm just like, at some point the referee's got to cotton on to that, and I'm like, start giving fouls for us. So, it's going to end up causing like a significant injury, which I don't want to happen to Geyse or any other player like that. So, but yeah, it's one to definitely watch. Well, probably the coaches will be seeing that from the sidelines as well. So maybe Geyse just adapts her style a little bit, so she's not getting kicked all the time. So it's one to watch.
I agree. I do think, but I mean, there's a lot of players in the United squad that I do think get like that, and they do get a bit grumpy when a shot doesn't, play off the way they thought it was. There was a few cases yesterday that I thought, please calm down, because we've got an important game next week. You'll know who I'm on about. But I think it's a good thing. I think it's going to drive her even more. The fact that if things go wrong and she's not had the best, when you think about it, she's not had the best start, and she's only just kind of coming to, and like I said before, she's just going to get better. But if she knows that she's not playing like she can do, and she knows she can now that she has played in the last 2 games, it's going to just keep getting better, and she's going to know that she can do it. But I think it's a good thing. It shows to us all that she has got the drive to do it, and she wants to do it, and she's here to score. She's here to be a proper forward that's going to finish and not just pass around the box. So I think it's a good thing, and she's not the only one.
I was going to say
we don't get any sending offs.
We've got plenty of players like that. Somebody who we'll get onto in a bit, Toone, I think is very much like that as well. Wears a heart on her sleeve, and you can see it. It's, but again, I personally don't think it's a bad thing. Obviously, within reason. But yeah, I think it's a good thing as well. So I've just put the player of the match poll in the chat, so I've kind of deliberated a little bit on this one, so people might shout at me for the fourth then, because I was a bit torn on who to go for. So we've got, obviously, Toone is on there, Millie Turner, Jade Riviere, and I put Nikita Parris on there. She was the one I was debating with 3 or 4 players, and we kind of said backstage there was a few names that could have took that 4th spot, but Parris is on there again. So get your votes in. This one will be up for a lot longer than the last one, so you've got about 35, 40 minutes to vote on that one, so plenty of time to get your votes in. But Toone is way out ahead already. Don't let me affect your vote, but he's got a strong lead so far. Right, this second goal then, as Alan Zellen quite rightly quoted my tweet yesterday, goal of the weekend, he put on that one. Charlie, for yourself, Millie Turner's not known for scoring too many goals, especially goals like this. As I put on my tweet yesterday, the run forward is one thing, shrugging off the defenders the other, and then to put it into the far top corner like she did. I mean, I don't know what to say about it.
It was outrageous. It was absolutely outrageous. When it nestled in the top corner, I couldn't believe it. But the first thing I actually thought was, I cannot wait for this post-match interview. I can't wait. And it did not disappoint. Absolutely amazing. She was incredible, wasn't she? And at first, it was a lovely through ball from Galton, by the way, perfect. I looked and I was like, who the heck is that? Like, because never in a million years, you might expect the full-back to appear up there, wouldn't you, at some point? Or a midfielder to make a cheeky run. But just incredible. I love the replay. I love watching it back. Jayce is calling for the ball on the edge of the box. Turner's kind of thinking, nope, I'm popping this in there. Over an absolute giant goalkeeper, Mackenzie Arnold. Just amazing. The knee slide followed, which brought back memories of Villa at the worst stadium in the world, Poundland Bescott Stadium last season. Just the rest of the players just being like, what on earth? Like, how have you done that? But it was absolutely brilliant. Amazing. Could have been just the normal striker. If Jayce had scored that, we'd be going, that's incredible. So the fact that it was centre-back extraordinaire Millie Turner who scored that goal, but also let's not ignore the rest of her performance. Her performance was incredible. Every facet of it was amazing from her. Just wonderful. And I've watched the post-match interview like 3 or 4 times. It just amazing. What a player. What a character as well.
I was going to say, she's not just on that player of the match poll, as you said there, obviously, just for the goal. She's on there for a performance overall as well throughout the whole game, because, I mean, that goal just summed up, what a good... I think she's had a good few games as well. I don't think it's just been this one. I think she's been very, very consistent this season in that respect. I mean, Andrew, what have you got to add on the goal itself? I'm loving these comments, by the way. Everyone just saying what they thought of the goal. But, as Alan said there, first goal scored with a foot. Sport is renamed her. To Mildini. But I'm quite enjoying just reading all these, to be fair. But yeah, what did you make of her overall performance? But also, just talk to us about that goal and the view you had from the standing terrace behind the goal.
Yeah, when Leah got onto the ball and then she made the turn and put the ball through, I was like Chelsea. I was like, why is Millie there? And I'm like, she shouldn't be that far up on the pitch. And I'm like, okay. And then literally got on the ball and I thought, oh, she's just going to, cross the ball into the box, but then she took the defender on and then just like shrugged them off. And I'm like, I thought I remember it looked like Millie had just a quick look. And I thought, oh, is she going to try and hit this in towards the goal? And I was like, then when she hit it, I was like, no way, is that going to go in? And then literally just nestled into the back of the net. I was like, I think we were just all surprised and stunned in the stands. Like, Millie Turner's just scored, a brilliant goal. So yeah, it was just one of those goals. You just can't help watch back many times. So yeah, it was great to see her get her goal. But yeah, Millie was great yesterday in terms of defending as well. Her and Maya at the back have got that partnership now, and it's like so they're like in sync with each other. So, but yeah, surprising who our second goal scorer was, but yeah, can't deny it was the goal of the weekend. So, if you could find it a better one all season from a defender. So yeah, good on Millie. And I say on the post-match interview, I think she said she'd been scoring a few like that. So maybe she was thinking I'll set one up against West Ham, which came perfectly.
No, it certainly was. I'm loving this, by the way. Obviously loving that comment as well, but that I can't repeat that because we'll get demonetised and so on, which is not great. But but yeah, I'm a bit jealous of where you're sat now because that would have been quite something. But all of the
I did see her mouth. Well, I could see from my view, I could see her mouth. That I was like, oh, a few expletives there, Millie, but.
The pictures are brilliant. I tweeted a few of the All for United account yesterday, and I think it's just a good feeling goal, isn't it? Just very quickly, obviously, evening to yourself, John. Obviously, of course we are, because that point against Brighton maybe is looking like a good point now. I know Chelsea obviously beat them at home, but City couldn't do it, could they? So maybe there's something on there. Vic, for yourself, obviously Turner's goal and her overall performance, as Jess is saying here, 99% pass accuracy as well. I've just checked. She's got 2 out of 3 aerial duels. Just a phenomenal performance overall, as well as that goal.
Yeah, I absolutely love Millie. She is one of my favourite players, to be honest. But I also just love her character, her personality, and what she brings to the team is just on another level. like Charlie said in the interview, she's absolutely hilarious. Like, honestly, she cracks me up. I've watched that interview. I mean, then I watched when she put on about a tweet and it was her dad's birthday. And honestly, it's like a tear went to my eye because I thought, you know what? Like, she's done that. Like, she's never scored with her feet for United. She's been there 6 years. And, you know, like, what a goal. Like, that was top bins. That, like, what a screamer. I was just jumping up and down. Like, honestly, I was a lunatic. I was like, what has just happened? But she's just a lovely person as well, and she really deserves that. I do think she's a little underrated, to be honest. To me, she should be in the England squad over other players that are in the England squad. And you know, apparently Serena was there yesterday, but I don't know how she was at so many games yesterday, so I don't think she was. But apparently she was there yesterday, and if she was, like, no wonder Millie went for that. I mean, United didn't hold back on the Lioness call up for Nikita either, did they? So maybe that's what she knew. She needed to do something. But yeah, I just think she's underrated, to be honest. She has had such a good season so far, and I just love her. And it was just, honestly, a rocket. It was all of their faces that they were literally just like, and Maya's like this. What has just happened? Like, what has just happened? Who is that blonde girl on the pitch? And she'd actually made a run about 5 minutes before the goal. She'd made a run, and I was saying to Elise, who was next to me, I was like, she better not cross that. Surely she's not going to cross that. Like, that's not going to be a good cross from Millie. Anyway, she ended up playing back instead, but then she came down the other side, and I was like, she's going to try and cross it again. And then next minute, it's in the back of the net. I was like, okay, I'll let you do that from now on. I won't tell you not to. But no, great goal. Goal of the season so far for me. Fantastic goal.
I was going to say, I'm trying to think of a goal that could potentially rival that one for us so far.
Toone at Brighton. That's the only one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, to be fair, actually.
But
that kind of went... I forget about that one because we didn't win the game.
I know. Put a downer on it a little bit, but you can see her confidence has come back. But I know you'll fix that. So.
Indeed, we will. Someone's... It was a quite... It's already been answered. Yes, so the 99% pass accuracy, yes, it was 73 out of 74, which is very good going as well on that one. To be honest, Jennifer, I think anyone who moves to Manchester picks it up after like a few months of being there, especially if you're hanging around with Toone and Millie and the likes of for so long. There was a question a bit further up as well. I'll have to try and find it on the last one. But Gabrielle's agreeing with you. Obviously, talked about the Lionesses in place of named a player there in terms of to replace. But yeah, I don't see the harm in it for a couple of the friendly. England plays so many friendlies. Just for one of those, give Millie Turner a chance.
And they're boring. England is so boring at the moment. Like, just mix it up a little bit. It's just a bit.
I feel like if they're bringing a bit of Jill Scott back, you know, like with the personality, like we're missing that at the minute. We need a bit of character.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that one. So come on, Serena, if you're watching this, get Millie in that squad and give Blundell a little shot as well while you're at that one. Moving on to the third goal now. See another player again, a player that is hot in form right now. Obviously, Nikita Parris. This is her sixth goal in 3 starts now. So she's just gone straight to our top scorers just like that in a couple of games. But Charlie, what did you make of her, I guess, overall performance? And again, on the score sheet, again, this is somebody that we debated this on the show that we did pre-Conti Cup, that Parris should have started against Brighton, and it was a bit harsh to only give her a few minutes at the end. She did start this one and repaid it again. And I guess, are you starting to see that link up now, between that right-hand side, Riviere, obviously Toone on that right-hand side, on Miyazawa kind of swapping, and Parris's link up with Geyse now?
Yeah, she's always. I think someone mentioned earlier about Jade's position on the pitch as well. I only feel that I don't know if you get how well you can see it. It's always sometimes harder to see, isn't it, from screen? But Jade is playing so far up now. She's almost playing as a winger. Like, she's very rarely in a defensive half when we're in possession of the ball. And Hannah sort of tucks in, trying to do a bit of a different role this year, which means the last couple of games that Nikita Parris has played, we have almost been playing as a front two, as two strikers, rather than her just playing as a winger. And what I've always loved about Parris, and I think it's in my non-professional, humble opinion, against Brighton, and with Williams to an extent as well, is I think we just missed her work rate. And I hate to mention, like, I turned around and said it, I might have said it to Andrew as well, like, I hate mentioning sort of any ex-Man City players or anything, but if you think about Ellen White in that England squad when they won the Euros, obviously Nikita Parris is also scoring goals for fun, so let's not forget that. Like, at the time, you'd be watching it going, why is Russo not playing? Why is Russo not playing? She'd score that, she'd score that. And Ellen White's job was basically she chased and she harassed and she harried the opposition the 60, 70 minutes she was on the pitch. And then the subs came on and scored loads of goals. Now, what's happening with Nikita Parris is she's doing that. She's chasing and harrying literally everything, but she's also scoring goals before she's subbed off. So she's just doing everything that we need. And I do feel like if and I can't understand that she didn't start against Brighton after the Everton game in the league, and we thought, well, maybe that's because she then played a bit midweek and then she can't play Brighton as well. But I feel like if we'd played her, we would have had enough to beat Brighton. I just think with her work rate and her mentality, and she maybe feels like she has something to prove. And like 6 goals in 4 games, is it now? Like, it can't be ignored. I mean, if Serena wants to ignore it, she can. Like, she'll get a rest then, won't she? Over, yes, international break 3,000,001 or whatever it's going to be this year. But she's been amazing. I'd be starting her. I'd be starting her in the derby. There's no way she doesn't deserve to play. To consistently be in the top, the best player, if not the best 2 or 3, the last sort of four-ish games in a row, she has to start. And again, another one that's proved lots of people wrong. Has just put her head down and worked really hard. And a really well taken goal from her. Brilliant through ball from Toone. Best performance from her we've seen all season. And Mackenzie Arnold had the near post covered, so she had to play it back across goal, and she played it perfectly. Really good from her.
No, I tend to agree with that. I think you summed it up pretty well. I can hear your point, Amari. Obviously, 2 of those games were against Everton, but none of our other players are scoring that many. And I think that's the difference. I think we saw it last season, that right-hand side, in the cup final against Chelsea, which obviously is the best team in England right now. Parris was exceptional in that game as well. And I don't think, well, we said this at the time, she probably shouldn't have come off in that final for the subs that were made in that game. But I think we need a bit of that. It's all great having this star quality and everything else, but you need a bit of, as Charlie just said there, the work rate to run defences down. There's something I want to come to a bit later on. Something we saw last season, we did that a lot, and we scored so many late goals because the opposition defence was a lot tighter. Whereas this season, we're not running teams down as much. So when the subs come on, they can't have that same impact because they're not as tired as maybe when we did that last season. But Andrew, for yourself, what have you made of obviously Parris's goal, well taken goal, Toone assist as well? But yeah, just her overall game in recent weeks.
Parris has just been a player on form at the moment. And I was just wondering, like yesterday, would, after the performance she gave against Everton in the Conti, would you put Parris back on the bench? Look, I thought, just to say, you rewarded her for her good form of recently as well. And so a brilliant piece of play by Toone to slice through, the West Ham back line. And if you look where Parris is starting, she was in the middle of cut across the middle of the box to take the ball on. And if you think her link up play with Jade as well, even Jade's further forward, it's like it was May that played the pass to Toone, and Toone then started to make the run and then cut through the West Ham defence with a slicing pass, and then Keats got on the end of it. I just thought, would she be able to get the shot away, because the angle was getting a bit tired, but she cut it across the goal. So I say a player in such a good form as at the moment, she can be dropped at the moment. I don't think so. So she's our top goal scorer at the moment, and obviously with her adding the 3rd goal, Parris, it was also like, I'm not saying the game was all but over, but it was more than guaranteed the 3 points. But yeah, say Parris, I'm just really excited by her form at the moment, and say her link up with Jade. So just really good to see us, attacking games, in the last couple of weeks. As I said earlier, sometimes we've had such slow starts in games, and maybe if she started against Brighton in the league, maybe we might have nicked all 3 points, but who knows? Mark was making the decisions on the lineup, but yeah, so at the moment I don't see Parris being removed from the starting 11 at the moment. So it's going to be somebody taking her place is going to have to be in as good form as she is.
I think we speak about this a lot. Last season, obviously, we had that stability in the 11. I think it's important now. Also, granted, there's a obviously with the City game and so on, there's another international break coming up at some point. I think it's at the end of this month. It's important to get that stability in the 11. And I feel like if we take Parris out again, whether it's Garcia or Mallard goes in there or whoever it is, great players in their own right, I feel like it just upsets things. And I feel like this 11 now, this is a question I'll come to towards the end, is something we need to start building on and building around, because I don't think it's fair to keep chopping and changing players when they've had great games, unless obviously there's a fitness thing or an injury thing in there as well. But Vic, for yourself, kind of the last word on Parris, and we're going to look at some of the other players that stood out yesterday. What do you make of her performance? Obviously the goal as well, just before half time.
Well, with the goal, I mean, like you all said, the assist was great. I think the partnership between Ella and Nikita is great. They've played together for a long time now. Toone assisted her on Thursday as well for one of the goals. I think it was the third one. But yeah, I mean, great play from Nikita. She's, running down everyone, and she's a great player. I've always rated her. And I think she's got something to prove, and I think she knows that. She knows she needs to work hard to get in the squad, and she really wants to get back in that England squad as well. So she is working her absolute butt off, and it's paying off, and she deserves it. She deserves some recognition for it, and I really hope Mark gives her a chance at Old Trafford on Sunday, because the drive she's got for the game is unreal, and she looks like she wants to be there, and she looks like she's having fun as well. And like I said, it's paying off. So why wouldn't you start her? She's doing well. And I also think, obviously, Mallard, Garcia, I love them both, but I do think they're more impact subs. I've always said that. I think Mallard could progress to being in the starting 11, but I do think at this moment in time, she's better as a sub and better coming on to change the game when she needs to. But at this moment in time, we're doing all right.
And I think that's just it. Highland said they're obviously scoring against the teams that they're playing against, obviously with Parris and Everton and Bolton, Brighton and West Ham for Garcia as well. We're obviously going to get on to the latter two goals as well. Obviously, it was kind of goals that we scored a lot last season, with players coming off the bench and scoring a couple late on. And yeah, obviously Sophie saying there, she start against City. I'll be amazed if she doesn't. Our City preview will be later this week, by the way. So we'll cover that in more detail when we get to that one. But I want to talk quickly about, obviously, the couple of the players that are on the poll that we've not mentioned. We briefly mentioned there, but obviously, Charlie, Ella Toone, because she's still leading the way in the poll. It's closing in. It's not as big much as I thought it was going to be, which Vic's not going to be very happy if she doesn't win this one. But what did you make of Toone's performance? Because for me, I said to a few people yesterday, that was probably Toone's best game in the United shirt for a long time, it felt like. Although didn't score. What she did on the ball, obviously getting the assists as well. What did you make of her overall game yesterday?
Yeah, I think you're right. Sort of the last maybe 12 months, she's got a bit of a frustrated figure, hasn't she? But yeah, I think it was her best performance in a long time. I think she ran the show. I think she dictated play. The Toone Hinnie sort of, both of them playing together is something that I've been sort of keen to see how it would work. We saw it for a half against PSG at LSV, if you remember, and it was brilliant. And then has worked not as well at other times when we've seen it for short periods of time throughout the season. But I thought it worked brilliantly. I thought Hinata did more of sort of the dog's work, so the harrying and the chasing back, which allowed Toone to be that sort of more creative player that we'd like it to be and have a little bit more of a free role, which I think worked really well for her. Because we don't have Toone on the pitch to be chasing back and putting tackles in and that sort of thing. I think Hinata's the perfect player for that. She keeps the ball so well, 100% passing accuracy. That's where we want her, in the middle, receive the ball, pass the ball, and just look after it, which, like I said, allow Toone to go forward and be creative and find really good pockets of space and move around and create problems for the defence, because she wasn't in a set position. She was moving and drifting out wide, drifting up alongside Geyse as well. And yeah, a great performance from her. I think if you ask her, she'll always want to score. She always wants to score a goal. But even when she got a really good assist. But I think her overall performance was head and shoulders above where it has been recently. Just dictating play, causing all sorts of problems. And I like it when she gets a little bit leery. I didn't mind her sticking up for herself because that was a bad tackle. That wasn't a great tackle. And any referee worth their salt, when the ball next went out of play, would have gone back and given a card for that. You're allowed to do that. So I'm glad that Toone stuck up for herself. I like that. Because she will get hacked and she will get pulled back and those sorts of things. So she needs to stick up for herself. But yeah, good performance from her. And again, another player like Geyse who's played herself back into form just as we're approaching a really big and a really important game, especially with City having dropped points this weekend. If we can then beat them as well, I think that'd be massive for us moving forward up until Christmas.
I think that's the thing. There was I think it was against Everton when she came on in that game, and she missed a shot, and you could just see it in her. Like, so angry with herself. And like you said, as I said earlier, where's her heart? Honestly, I've personally got no issue with it, but I'm with that. I'm surprised she didn't get booked purely because at Villa away in the first game of the season, she got booked for literally nothing when she asked the linesman like why it wasn't a corner. She didn't swear, didn't say anything. Yeah. It was just, why is that decision got booked? So which I don't
like. Do you know what though? Like,
yes,
she shouted at the lines person, and again, we don't want them doing that. But I would look at the game as a whole and say the officials in the WSL this season, apart from one mental game when it was City against Chelsea, haven't been doing the time wasting rule, haven't been following that through at all. And just letting players get hacked down and still not giving things that they should do, and also not doing anything for dissent. So if she wasn't booked, that's their fault. It's not Toone's fault. There's loads of things those officials should be doing that are initiatives for this year that they aren't doing. And a tackle like that, you'd expect there to be some sort of sanction or consequence, which is what there should have been.
No, I'd agree with that one. It's it's the back shelf. Yeah, I don't understand. It's just inconsistent, isn't it? But that's a whole other conversation about the referee. I don't think it's in the. I don't just think it's a WSL thing at the moment. I think across the board. Sorry, Ian, if you're in the chat, I've just offended you, but I think it's.
Hasn't it always been the rule that you can card for dissent, and they've chosen not to do it? What a shocker!
Yeah, it's not been good at all. Certainly not this season. It seems to be getting a lot worse. But Andrew, for yourself, Toone's performance, and I think John put the comment in a bit earlier on saying, I've lost it. Obviously, chats that we've had multiple times, obviously talking about Toone when I was saying that she should be pulled out of the team. John was obviously very in favour of keeping her in the team, and he said this is why, because she got the goal against Brighton and obviously followed that up with a great performance in this one.
Yeah, so it was like Geyse really, needed that goal for her confidence, and like Toone against Brighton, you could see how much it meant to her when she, hit that banger against Brighton. But yeah, she had a real good game yesterday, and linking up the play between the midfield and the attack. So, she could have had another assist because she played Gorton through, and obviously that goal was ruled offside, so she could have had 2 assists from yesterday as well. So, but yeah, it's definitely one of her best games. And over the last year or so, she's been a bit up and down in form. She's having glimpses, but saying that's why she's probably been kept on, because she can produce that, magic on the pitch. And obviously yesterday, a bit of a say. And she got fouled by Suzuka. I've never seen Toone so angry like that and just having a go at the lineswoman. And I was like, in United bench, just telling her, just calm down. And that's why I think she then moved across more into the middle, because then I noticed Millard went by Suzuka, and then them two are started having a set too. I think Millard was like, I'm not having you going on my team, mate. I'll just let you know I'm not taking that from you as well. But yeah, which was good to see, teammates sticking up for each other. But yeah, Toone's shown signs of good form again, which is good to see.
No, for sure. And Vic, this is something me and you debate on many a WhatsApp chat, talking about Ella Toone. And it very often gets a ranting voice note from yourself when obviously I talk about Toone. But as I said earlier, I think this was a best performance in a while. What do you make of her yesterday, and obviously in recent weeks? Do you think it was as simple as getting that goal against Brighton that's kind of kick-started this?
I am honestly beaming from ear to ear. I literally haven't stopped smiling since yesterday at 12 o'clock. Honestly, she's back. And I knew it was coming. Everyone kept saying, get her off. Connor said on the Brighton game, Toone needs to come off. I said, Connor, watch. Next 5 seconds, it's in the back of the net. I think it's just a Wigan like mentality, like a never die attitude. And I just knew like she's just, oh, I just love her. And I just think like, same with like Millie Turner, she wants to be there. Sometimes she doesn't look like she does, but she wants to be there. She plays like she is playing for the badge, and she's so loyal. She's always trying her best, 110% every game. Although sometimes there's no goals, there's no assists, she does so much on that ball that she's underrated for. And honestly, it's nice to see tweets going up now saying, not, oh, she's missing Russo, because it's nothing to do with that. I'm sorry, but nearly, that was close. Absolute rubbish. So it's nice to see now, not that she's back or like things like that, but that she's playing and she's looking like she's gonna get that dream Old Trafford goal next week. And honestly, I could cry thinking about it. I've just read her book actually, and honestly, the amount of times she mentions a dream goal at Old Trafford, I cried every time in that book. So I'm manifesting it, and I'm going to be all week. And this is the time. And I'm telling you, this is the day. Sunday is the day, the 19th of November. She is going to score at Stretford End a worldie. She is back.
I'm liking it. Someone clip that and send it to her. Motivation for Sunday. Not that she needs it, but you know, we're wrong with that. I think.
I'm telling you.
Jess is with you. Can you imagine? I think the place would go just. I think
apart. She'd cry. I honestly think she'd cry. That's how much like she loves this club. Like she absolutely adores this club. And to me, like when you love something that much, that's why you play for it. But anyway, on the football side of things, yeah, brilliant passing. You know, I liked she was a bit higher up the pitch. I thought that worked really well. I think a partnerships with Nikita, Hinney, really good. I don't think that goal was offside. The Galton one. I mean, it's questionable, but from where I was, it was not offside. So she should have had 2 assists. She had 2 on Thursday as well. Then she's had a goal. So, you know, yeah, we'll keep going. And again, it's just going to get better and better as the season goes on, hopefully.
No, fingers crossed, because a better Ella Toone, a good Ella Toone, as we know, as we saw in previous seasons, will certainly help the team as a whole as well. Certainly those forwards, that is great to see that she's back on a bit of form as well. Hopefully she continues that into the derby and obviously beyond that as well. Another player that's on the poll then, Jade Riviere is another player I just wanted to quickly mention, because Charlie, after the first game against PSG, she got a lot of stick. And to be fair, after the second leg as well, because that side got absolutely battered. The Chawinga and Karshawi kind of side of PSG. But as I said on the shows, I didn't think that was Jade's fault, because she was getting no help from the midfield and who was playing on the right at the time. But since then, you know, obviously we've seen a performance against Everton, against Brighton, obviously now the West Ham game. What have you made of her and her kind of, I guess, recent resurgence in these games moving forward?
I think a big part of it is her fitness. When obviously she first came back, that was her first game, wasn't it? Proper game back against PSG, first Champions League game. She'd been out injured for a very long time. It's always going to be difficult, even if you're not in that situation. But it's really quickly since then. She is a different player, and she's playing so far up the pitch as well. She's such an attacking threat. I think we said before the return leg against PSG, where we were starting to see not honour but honour-esque type things. You saw that at the weekend again, her beating a player and cutting inside and making space and excellent deliveries. But you also see it second half when she's sort of over an hour into the game and she just runs and she makes that breakaway run. And it was probably an accident, but it looked to us like the West Ham player thought, sod this, there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to tackle her in the ankle to knock her over. And the fact that she's still got that level of energy, having spent all game just running up and down that touchline, I think shows where her fitness is at. And we can see now why Mark and the recruitment team got her in, because she was relatively unknown. She was a kid. This is her first professional football side outside of college. And what a signing she has been. And she's turning into the player that we hoped she would be. And I think the first few games as well, I kept saying to people, I'm really worried there's no outlet from the fullbacks here. There's nothing. Like, we're relying on Millie and Maya to play it out. There's nothing from the fullbacks. And Jade's come into the side. And what an outlet she is. And I love where she's playing as well. We said before, she's so high up the pitch, but then isn't being caught out either because of the pace she's got and the stamina when she's having to get back and defend. And she did a couple of really good last-ditch tackles. Like, West Ham didn't have many opportunities, but the couple they had, it was her. It was her getting back and clearing up the mess. But yeah, really, really impressed with her. Really worried when she went down. I thought, this doesn't look good. But just the fact that she got up from that maybe means she's not made of glass, which is a positive. But yeah, just absolutely wonderful. And the way they're setting up as a back four now when we're in possession has to make the opposition think. She's so high up the pitch, such an outlet for us. But yeah, really, really promising from her.
And I think that the assist against Everton, going back to that game quickly, obviously we're going to do this because of how good Honor was, but obviously the comparison to Honor's all, and I think it's a bit harsh on Jade because Honor is the elite level fullback in the women's game right now, and I think it's harsh to put that expectation on Jade. But there was moments in that game where you're looking at the first assist for Parris' goal in the Everton game. You look at that going, we saw that a lot last season, the Honor cross into Russo or goal to whoever it was last season. That's what we want to see. And just very quickly on this comment, because you've just mentioned it as well, obviously the tactical tweak. And this just, to anyone who says that Mark Skinner doesn't have tactics and we just play on vibes and everything else that I keep seeing that he does, there you go. I'm just going to leave that comment on screen for just a second. There'll be a show coming on this, by the way. We've been planning this for about a couple of weeks on Jade. There'll be a special coming out on her maybe next week. It depends when we get around to finish that one off. But there will be one coming out on Jade's impact on the team and this kind of back three in attack system as well. So keep your eye on that one. Andrew, for yourself, what have you made of Jade? Because it's for me personally, I'm so happy for it because it's me and Miriam over at She Scores Players. We've been all summer. We've been really hyping up. Can't wait to see her and everything else. As I said, she got off to a bit of a tough start, obviously, those 2 games against PSG. But since then, I think she's been pretty good.
Yeah, I think she's just finding her feet as well. It was a bit of a slow start. And I mean, that game against PSG at home, she was on the right wing and Hannah was behind her. But at times, Jade looked like she was a bit in no man's land. Do I go on the attack? Do I come back and help Hannah out? She's like, sort of got caught in 2 minds. What do I do? And that's why she was taken off. I think that was at half time, so which was the right decision. But then since then, she's literally been in such a good form. Let's say, unfortunately, the injury to Gabby George meant Jade coming, but Jade, took it with both barrels, and she's like, I think that's what she just needed, a run of consecutive games, just and say fitness wise, she's just, it's up there as well, and even like the position as well, she's so further up on the pitch. Even that third goal with Parris as well, I'm just like, she was literally on the right wing, and I think Maya and Millie were like, like on the halfway line, so that's how far the defence is pushing up as well. So yeah, happy that she's in good form as well, and so that's what we need. Just been questioning the defence of late. Is it as good as last season? But it's literally only just Honours left. It's just the same, essentially the same back four. But yeah, Jay's literally come in, slotted in there, and is doing really well. I
must apologise, Andrew. I wasn't laughing at what you were saying now. I was listening.
I didn't think so.
Terrible. Anyway, Vic, talk to us about if you want to wrap up this conversation on Jade and how well she's done in recent games, progressing on that right hand side.
I think, she's progressed really well. She was one of the players that scares me a little bit, I'm not going to lie. When Gabby went down, I was like, what are our options here? Because I never really, I'll be totally honest, I never really rated her. And I've always, thought we have better. And I suppose last year we had Honour, so we did. So I just never really looked at her as in she's going to be in our starting 11. But yeah, she's proved me wrong, and you know, I like to see that. And I think she's fitting really well. I think she's come to since probably like the first Everton game. I think since then she's just progressed and progressed. And yeah, she's fitting really well. And another one that's just gonna hopefully keep getting better. Her crosses in the, I want to say Brighton game, but don't hold me on that. The first half weren't good at all. Second half, she came out absolute great crosses, etc. And since then, she's been really good. So fingers crossed it keeps going, because we need a player like that.
No, 100%. And like what Jade is just saying, and this is the point I was trying to make. You know, she's first professional club. She's come into a side that everyone is going to compare her to Honor, because, as I said, she's coming in from one of the best players we've had, and currently the best fullback in the women's game right now. You know, everyone's going to have that expectation of her, but she needs that time to develop into that. When we signed Honor, she wasn't that finished article and I still don't think Honor is that finished article now, but she wasn't that elite level player when we got Honor. So we've got to give her that time to develop as well.
When she went down as well, that was literally right in front of where I was, and I honestly thought that West Ham player broke a jaw. The noise that came out of that was absolutely disgusting. Like, honestly, it made me feel sick. Like, I didn't even, like, I thought Jade be fine, but the West Ham player, I do not know how she stood up, because her jaw, like, it was disgusting. But thank God they're both okay, to be honest, because it sounded nasty. And going back to the other foul that should have been a foul on Toone, that was outrageous. Don't blame Ella for screaming at the lineswoman. She'd already actually called the other one a liar because of the offside, which, to be fair, was very true as well. But the ref yesterday, I didn't think she just didn't like giving cards out, I don't think, for the right things anyway. I thought both of those tackles should have been a card at least.
No, indeed. Yeah, I think that's to agree on that one. And TJ, funny you say that, because it's actually my clip that I sent to Miriam, and she tweeted it on the She Scores Bangers Twitter account, if you've not seen it. So if you've seen that clip floating around, it was me. That blessed you with that content on Twitter. But there we are. There was a question from Sporty. I wasn't really going to go down this road, but I thought it was an interesting point to make. What do the panel think of Mark's post-match comments? I agree with him. I think you're referring to on MUTV, where I can't remember the exact quote, but obviously Skinner didn't seem best pleased, you know, after a 5-0 win. I can't remember what he said, and it's going to bug me now. So I might have to ask this question and ask you guys while I quickly find what he said.
I think he said something about he wasn't happy with the sort of attitude or the effort levels at the start of the second half of the game.
Yes, and that's why he made 3 subs in one go, because he said he wasn't happy with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you two who were also there, but I was like, they've taken their foot off the gas here. Like,
yeah, I agree.
They've been a bit soft and letting West Ham dictate a little bit. So I think he's right. If he'd come out and just gone, yeah, it was amazing, we're brilliant all game, people would have gone, we weren't amazing for 20 minutes in the second half. So he's come out and said, yeah, we weren't amazing for 20 minutes in the second half, and he's right. Just got to keep raising the bar, haven't you? Standards.
Yeah, I think that's the one comment he made. Said standards here at United, and we have to get to them as much as possible. And he said, we could have let West Ham back into the game, so we set a very high bar, and we can't go below that bar, you know, because teams will punish us otherwise. Definitely right in what he said.
I 100% agree with what he said. Like, if that had been next weekend, you know, City would have taken advantage a lot more than West Ham. We can't play like that. Like, 20 minutes, I was literally like twiddling my thumbs, like, what are we doing? It was like we went from playing fine to then we got a bit overconfident and just took our foot off the gas a little bit. I think Mary mentioned it in her post-match interview as well, and she said exactly the same. But I have seen there's been quite a lot of hate on Mark, to be honest, with his post-match comments. But to me, like, you know, a manager's only going to make you better. You know, you've got to take some negatives out of every game. not every game can be just positives. And he did say some positives as well as some negatives. So you've always got to have something to work on, and that's what they need to work on next week. Is they need to come back after the second half and after the first half into the second half as well as they started. So I don't think he was wrong at all with what he said.
Yeah, I agree with that. And to be fair, everyone in the comments is agreeing with this as well. Obviously, saying that, and we did, and it was a question I was going to ask, but we kind of just asked it there. The fact that, and I think I put it in a WhatsApp group, the fact we made 3 subs on the 60th minute. I don't think I've ever seen Mark Skinner do that. So he must not have been hard up. Well, he clearly wasn't. He said it in his post match. But I guess there's an open question to any of you. Do you think that is a change that we're seeing this season? Because we're seeing more rotated sides than we ever did last season. We're seeing subs a lot earlier. We're seeing 3 in one go in the 59th minute or 60th minute, whenever it was, obviously, that they came on. Do we think that's a good change that we're seeing in Mark? Obviously, because it is, I guess, a new side compared to last season, obviously with a few players missing as well and a bit of uncertainty around a couple of others. But I guess, open question, is that a good thing that we're seeing, that we're seeing a bit more rotation and these subs are and in groups a lot earlier?
Sorry,
nobody wants to comment on that one.
I think from the order, I think you've got us into this habit now. We're used to me going first, so I'll go first. Yeah, I think that's fine, isn't it? I'm with Highlane here. Instead of all the times being annoyed with his post-match comments, why the one time when he picks out the bit where they aren't good enough? I think that's fine. I think that's what the best managers do, don't they? They want the best out of their squad. Is they say, yeah, this was good, but we need to work on other things. And again, like, lots of people annoyed that he sort of stuck with the same 11 last year, even when things weren't quite going our way and we were perhaps riding our luck at times. You can. I'm not going to tell people what they can think, but in my opinion, you can't then be cross when this season they sort of start to take the foot off the gas and he goes, no worries, then off you come, you 3, and these 3 are going to come on. And the subs came on and had an impact. So that last, again, the 10-15 minutes at the end of the second half were really dynamic and really exciting again. And we put West Ham to the sword, which is what we'd want to do. We want to be 3-0 up at half-time every game, but then we don't want to take our foot off the gas. We want to really put teams to the sword and score as many goals as possible. So he made the changes for that to happen, and then we got 2 more goals.
I think that's a key point as well. You're talking about the bench. He's clearly more confident in the bench than he was last season, and rightfully so. I think the bench is a lot stronger.
You can't always predict what the change is going to be either. Whereas last year, people were right. The substitutions worked quite a lot last year. Let's not pretend they didn't, but you could predict what they were going to be. Even with his lineup a bit now, I don't know about you guys, but I was dead sure that Mallard was going to start.
And me.
I was like, yeah, she'll be starting.
I thought Parris is probably going to go back down to the bench. I thought, is he going to keep her in, given her good form?
I don't mind a little bit of unpredictability with the starting lineup and the subs that are being made, and you change things when it's not going your way. Because if West Ham had scored a goal, you're still 2 up, but it makes it a little bit unnecessarily uncomfortable, I think. So he made some changes, which was the right move.
No, 100%. I think John Dan put a comment in as well. This is what happened last season. They started the second half slower against Chelsea. Punished us, couldn't get back into the game. And that's what happens. Games can change so quick like that. You can't take your foot off the gas. It's what the top teams do. So I don't see the issue with it. I think someone's just put you just mentioned about Highland saying, why is this post-match comment the one that's getting picked up on out of every single one he's done?
I think a lot of people said that in the FA Cup final as well last year that he should have made subs earlier. I'm pretty sure it was the FA Cup final. People said, why didn't he make subs? And I think this year he does trust his bench a lot more. But to be honest, looking at his bench, I'd trust it a lot more than last season as well. I think every player that comes on, deserves to be on that pitch and, comes on and makes a difference. And that's what we want. That's what the subs are there for. But yeah, I think it's a good thing that he is rotating more. And I think he needs to, because there's so many international breaks as well now. These Conti Cup games, they just need to rotate. I know Barry was on about this last week, and I was in the comments like, yes, rotate. And I just think, they do need a rest every now and then. And if you can give, Zell a rest for the Conti Cup games, then do it, because, do it while you can. Still bring her on if you need her, like you did, 60th, 70th minute, whatever. But give her that time. It always helps in the long run. Yeah, I believe in support.
I quite like it, like when we're 3-0 up and West Ham teams like West Ham sort of think, oh, we might be getting back into this, getting a bit of a foothold on the game, and then United are making subs and it's Mallard, it's Garcia, and it's Williams coming on. Like, that's brilliant. Like, because United of old used to do that with the fellas. You'd start off with sort of a second-ish string, and then there'd be subs, and it'd be like Ronaldo, Gary Neville, Paul, Ryan Giggs on you come, and the opposition was like, what's the point? Yeah,
it's scary, isn't it? Like, it's scary, and I think that's a good thing. The good thing about it, we have got people will look at our bench now and think, oh no, Rachel Williams is still on the bench, she's still got to come and give us one. But like,
what reception she gets? How good was her reception at the game?
I know.
It's like an NSYNC concert. Honestly, It's like, sorry, a couple of you two might be too young for that, but it's like it's like Backstreet Boys.
She's never going back to classroom now.
No. Like, keep her on as a coach, wouldn't you? Definitely.
Oh, see if she stays one more season, get her to sign one more year.
I know. How old is she now?
35.
No.
She's
not done yet though. She's not done.
Yeah, 35. 36 in January.
We'll start singing one more year.
Honestly, like Charlie said, the reception. Oh, everyone's like, yeah.
I think that's it. When you compare it, and I remember this because we did shows obviously on this channel, talking about obviously Rachel Williams when she signed. Everyone, apart from majority on here, was so against it and was questioning. And I understood it a little bit because it's not. And at the time, it was like the only signing, and it was like, oh, what are we doing here? Like, but I think she has grown probably into the. Aside from maybe the top line lionesses like your Toone and Erb, she is probably right up there with the height into the fan favourites because the reception she gets and what she does on the pitch.
I was pretty. I mean, I got to be honest. I was quite honest and said, this is not the one. We wanted to make the next step. Look at me now. She's my favourite player. But I do remember that first game last season when she came on as a sub, and it was almost uncomfortable because it was like an ironic, like, way. Like, it was almost like but it was like it was a joke. And when you compare that to now, light years apart.
No, fair play to her. And to be just aside from the football, just a good person as well. If anyone has chatted to her outside games and away from football
Didn't
as well.
Didn't she win, what do you call it? Top goal scorer one year.
What, in the WSL?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's only one league goal away from 50 WSL goals, isn't she? Put her in the top 10.
Yeah, but I've got actually a newspaper over there and it tells me what she got. But I don't. What year was it?
Yeah, it was potentially the first. It was potentially like the WSL with Birmingham, maybe. Back in
was it
like,
Birmingham?
Like 2011, maybe. No, it's the only year I can think of her getting it.
Put me, I look like a right.
Just while waiting, Sporty's put that comment up about only downers that we got later. We didn't get her early in the career. I said that at the game, and a couple of my friends said to me, but we might not have got the play that we've got now. So her experience and her attitude, she might not have been the same player if she was 10 years younger now, because she would have come up in a time when you didn't have to work as hard. Not that they don't have to work hard, but the graft she had to put in for any opportunity. That's why I keep her on. I'll absolutely keep her on as a coach. We're short of first team coach still, aren't we? So we could do with one.
2011.
Oh, crikey.
Oh, see, I'm good at this.
And she
14 goals.
14 goals.
On a smug face.
Definitely didn't just Google that.
And goals per game was 1.0.
Yeah, 14 games, 14 goals. There we go. See? Top quality striker. And she is. I love seeing her come on. And I was so happy she started against Everton last Thursday, because obviously we're so used to seeing her come on late in games. To see her start and did well in that one as well.
And she
Best thing
knows
I've
her
ever
role.
bought this show. All the information you need. Once a month.
What is it?
I was going to say, Rachel knows her role within the squad, and to come on during the league games, to get on the attack, take out the opposition and score a goal. So it's what she does best.
I think she's a
Certainly
good
is.
person to have around the squad as well. Like when she came, was it Brighton? She scored a late one. She came out and all she did was she didn't talk about her goal. All she talked about was Toone's goal, and she kept telling that it was going to come soon. It was going to come soon. Like that must be really nice to have. In the changing room, someone saying to you like, "I believe in you. Like you can do this." Like she's just a good squad member, and I think that's good to have.
No, for sure. And before we wrap this one up with the final serious, I guess, points, obviously Charlie dropped an NSYNC reference in the chat, and there was a couple of comments about that I thought I'd highlight as we go through. I actually know who NSYNC are, believe it or not, but no chance. Not having that. No, Backstreet Boy. Oh god! If Mia's watching this back, or if she's in the comments, she'll hate me for saying this. But I did tell her that Backstreet Boys are better than Take That, and she wasn't a huge fan because I think she's a big Take That fan. So, is Charlie going to agree with me?
I think they're different. I think they're more different than you'd think. If you get that,
but it's in boy bands in the UK,
Yeah.
Pardon?
Not that Take That
JLS
like
all the way.
Oh,
JLS. Did anyone ever listen to O-Town?
No.
Now you're going before my time.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. They were post Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Search for O-Town. Their first single is a cracker.
Oh, right.
They were made on a show. They were one of those first bands made on a show.
I was going to say I recognise them now. Now that you,
I've never
Googled
ever
them.
heard of them.
You have.
I think you will have done some of this.
Yes.
Yes.
That's All or Nothing. Or nothing.
And I'm with you, Emma, on that one.
Banging tune.
There's no need for that. But yeah, I would agree. What's happening here? Can we all talk about? Yes, it kind of has and it hasn't. it's short.
It's because the rest has got shorter.
Yeah, so it makes the top look taller. So yeah, nobody noticed on Thursday until Rob Kenton pointed out, which I was quite happy with. But here we go. You've started off a what, Emma? Come on.
I'm glad Sarah's written that comment because I didn't know if I'd be able to say that as a song title. That's what it was called. That's what the song was called. Vic's going to listen to it now. She'll listen to that tonight on a
I love music. I love music as well, so it's annoying me that. I know NSYNC, like.
NSYNC. I don't know about that. We're gonna have to do another show on this NC and dissect this one. I wasn't a fan of Westlife though. I gotta be honest. Too slow. Too. I think you've got to be into that kind of. No, not for me. But each to their own. There's plenty of bands out there that you can listen to. My last question then, before we look to player of the match and wrap this one up, was obviously just a little bit on Lisa Nelson, because I feel like we've got a bit of a slight dilemma now, because she's coming in. We always say reward performances, obviously.
It's a great dilemma.
It certainly is. But what would you be doing? Well, I'll start with yourself, Charlie. Obviously, what have you made of Lisa Nelson's performances? Obviously against Everton, and in this game as well, got the assist, the Garcia goal towards the end. But yeah, what have you made of her? And also, I guess, how do you fit her in? Like, because at the moment, Toone is on form, Miyazawa's on form, and obviously Zellum starts anyway for the most part.
But Zellum is also on form.
Yes, but that was the point I was going to make. She's also on form as well. Where does Nelson fit in?
She's got, for a very tall woman, she's very much the Viking. She has got a little bit of techers as well, hasn't she? A little bit of fancy footwork, which I like. Very progressive as well. Very progressive passer of the ball. I don't know, because Guerrero came on against Everton in the league, and we were all like screaming about that as well, weren't we? When she made that worldie of an assist to Parris, although it was worldie in my head. If I look back at it, it might not be. So yeah, we got loads of issues. I do think she should have come on early, because I feel like Zellum should have been subbed off after that head collision, because that looked nasty. That looked proper grim. I don't know if anyone saw the photos. And I worry about her for the derby. that's off no evidence. No one said anything. That's just my personal concern.
Mark's just put something. It's literally whilst we've been on here, something's just gone on Man United Instagram about it. Shall I read it to you?
Yes.
It says, it's a picture, and it says, to have a cut as deep as it is and play on is credit to her. She literally bleeds United. She'll always stand up and she always puts her body on the line, so she's fine, basically.
Yeah, did she put a post up earlier as well saying the eyelashes were all right as well?
So yeah, she did, didn't she? To be fair, that's what I was worried about. The wrapping around of her eyelashes.
Oh, I don't like going back to like Lisa. Yes, there's every reason that she deserves to play. She's really impressed. Obviously, she spent a lot of people talked about her not having much game time last season. However, she was injured for most of it, so we just need to remember that. So she's eased away, and hasn't she? And again, been really, really good. I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad it's a dilemma I don't have. I do wonder if against City he doesn't start with Miyazawa and Toone, so that might be where Lisa comes in to sort of combat the City midfield a little bit. You might find that he does that, but I'm not sure. But again, yeah, she's been brilliant every time she's come on. Really, really impressed with her as well.
It's something we'll discuss obviously City in more detail. I think when you're looking at that game, I wouldn't be surprised if he went for Toone, Zellum and Lisa in that midfield, just a little bit more defense, obviously, and just to shore that midfield up a little bit. And to be fair, I'm not against it. It's not like Lisa hasn't deserved that. You know, she's been playing well as Miyazawa, in my opinion. So it's a good problem. But Andrew, Rick, anything to add on Lisa's recent performances?
So it's a bit of a conundrum, and like I say, Mark Skinner's got to work it out where he's going to try and fit her on. So it's good to have these options. You know, if one player's not playing, and you know, another player can come straight in. So even like yesterday, well, that fourth goal, you know, Nelson and Garcia, you know, combined beautifully for it. You know, Nelson just runners going forward in the transition. She played the ball over the top to Garcia, and I thought, see Garcia's touch. I thought, she's not going to get the shot on the goal, but she managed to get it past the West Ham defender and then score. But from what I've seen of Nelson so far, she's been good in the midfield. I think maybe, as you said, City should come in for that game. Might give that protection in the midfield, but also for the defence as well. So, you know, with City's attack, it's just like we've got to be a bit wary of it as well. So we can't. Yes, we want to go on the attack as well, but we've also got to, you know, not sacrifice the defensive side of things as well. So yeah. So it's up to Skinner to choose the best 11. So, you know, that's why this is where the rotation is key at the moment. And so we're trusting those players who start the game, but also to come off the bench. And, you know, Lisa's coming off the bench, and, you know, she's definitely contributing during the games.
Yeah, Vic, anything to add on Lisa?
I'd keep her on the bench for now. I don't think we should mess around with anything while it's going well. She needs to come on, bring her on, but I'm happy with the midfield we've got at the moment. I know lads on the bench, but I think that's where she should be at the moment. It was nice she got captain and got a goal against Everton the other day. But I think Lisa, stay on the bench and don't mess anything up. Why we're going strong. I don't see why you'd change anything if we're happy with how we played yesterday. Yeah, coming out second half we weren't, but you know, that's something that the mentality of the players have got to do, and Mark's got to work on. Not like it's not. I don't think it should be our worry at the end of the day. I think our midfield we did really well the other day, and I think it should just stay the same for the City game. To be honest, my motto is the best form of defence is attack. So go full throttle.
No, and I think at the moment, as Paul's saying, the subs are getting more minutes this season anyway. So I think she'd come on earlier if there's an issue in the game that she needs to come into. But certainly a good problem to have, that's for sure. Right, let's round this one off with player of the match, and I'll leave you guys in the chat. You've got about 2 minutes to get your votes in if you want to change the outcome of the vote. But Charlie, for yourself, who would you have gone for in this one?
I voted for Super Millie Turner. 50% for how that goal made me feel, but also 50% because just her defensive performance was colossal as well. So I think her all-round performance was perfect. Best, again, we talked about Toone being the best performance she's had for United in a while. I would argue it's Millie's as well.
No, that's a fair point. Andrew, who have you gone for?
So many good players yesterday. I'm just thinking I could have literally picked any one of them, but just thinking she's been in such good form and she's carried on. Nikita Parris, she's just like literally on fire. So every time she was just getting on the ball, she just wanted to attack. She wanted to get on. Firing those goals in. But yeah, Keats for me.
And Vic, do I even need to ask who you voted for?
Yeah.
I honestly am shell-shocked. I thought this would literally be like a straight-out winner. I mean, Millie is a close second, but I thought Toone was incredible yesterday. The play on the ball, yeah, you know what I mean.
No,
Yeah,
and am I going to have to see Riviere here to make it 4? So we've all got a vote for somebody on the poll. But
no, you're not.
No, I would have gone for Toone as well. Personally, I think she was I think it's a close one with Millie. I think they're the poll doesn't agree. Riviere is very. I'll end the poll now actually. So Toone won it with 53. Jade
Yay.
on. Oh no, it's changed. Hang on. No, Toone on 52.
No.
Riviere on 30. Turner on 10, and Parris on 6. So it was a pretty big margin again. But yeah, Toone did win it in the end with Riviere in second, which I'm actually surprised. I'm not saying Riviere was bad, but I would have thought Turner would have been higher up or closer to Toone on that respect. Exactly. It's good that we vote differently because it shows how many good players or how many good performances there were. Because when there's a clear standout, either that player's had an exceptional game, or like Parris scoring a hat-trick against Everton, as she won earlier, or we've not played that great and you can't decide who the standout was. So I'm glad that we've got this one. But yeah, looking at it, everyone in the chat is pretty much going, yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Or you're being called a stan now. That's one of that's
No shame in that.
I'm just a Wigan.
Exactly. There we are. Right, we shall wrap it up there. It's been another great show. Look at this, and good to talk about a load of goals for once. And we've kept it under an hour and a half, which is quite something considering we've gone through the Everton and West Ham game in all of this, and gone through some 90s and 2000s boy bands as well. While we've been dissecting everything all in between, we'll be back later on in the week, probably on Friday. We do have another collaboration coming out this week. It will be out on Friday, which you will see, which is something we're really excited about ahead of the derby. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Follow us on Twitter at allforunitedvids to find out who that's with and where that is being shown. You will find it. It's another big one for us, which will be great. And obviously, we won't be here obviously on Thursday when our preview should be, because myself, Andrew, and Jess will be at the Football Content Awards. And being this is our last show before then, I thought I'd just obviously say whatever happens, thanks to everyone that did vote for us, continues to watch us and all those kind of things. We're going to be living it up on some water, Andrew. No alcohol, are we? On Thursday. But yeah, thanks to everyone who obviously voted for us, as I said, and continues to watch us. All great comments again that I can see, and everyone who contributes. Charlie's obviously a regular now after she's saying she'd never come on the channel. She was so reluctant a couple of years ago. And now look, on pretty much every show, and obviously Vic as well, and everyone that contributes that are not on screen right now. It's been another great year, and hopefully we'll be back on Friday talking about a win in that one and looking ahead to how we're going to beat City at the weekend. But despite all of that, we'll be back next Monday as well, talking about the derby and all things there as well. Yes, Jess is bringing the water with her. So we shall see. Appreciate that, Sporty. It's going to be a good one. There might be a vlog of that one as well. We might be filming some of the action so you can see some of the behind the scenes stuff as well, what goes on there. So potentially that'll be out on Friday as well. Lots coming out on Friday. Anyway, make sure you're liking the video, subscribing, all of that stuff. As I said, follow us on Twitter at allforunitedwfc, and we shall see you guys in the next one.